So a few days ago, I made a video talking about what purpose means and how every literal human being in the whole world has the same purpose. And I couldn't bring myself to post the video because I was just rolling my eyes. It was a very vulnerable moment for me, and I could not just bring myself to post it because partly it was cringe, but I'm gonna get there in that moment where I'm gonna be able to feel comfortable crying on camera. But basically, this is like a remake of the video, and I'm gonna be saying what I said again, which is that everybody's purpose in the whole wide world is the same thing, and that purpose is to know God, to abide with Him, and to have a relationship with Him. And I go on to also explain that picture, that imagery, that idea is very, very completely explained in the book of Genesis, whereby Adam, the first man, is literally sitting in the garden doing nothing, just standing to the garden. That was like literally supposed to be every man's fate, every man's life, stress free, depend completely on God to have an easy life. And honestly, when you read the book of Revelation, it also becomes clearer that that is what we are going to be ascending into later on after the coming of the Lord. That is the life that we're going to be living. We're going to be having a relationship with God. We're going to be completely abiding with Him every day. That is going to be our purpose. But just want to talk about how many people use the word purpose and they don't know the meaning. You can just take your dictionary right now and search the meaning of purpose and then search the meaning of assignment. A purpose is basically like, what is my cause for living? Your cause for living is because it pleases God. It pleased God to make you, to create you, to be a part of His life, okay? Because like we often talk about how God is a part of our life, but we never talk about how God literally made us a part of His life. Why people feel like something is just missing in their life and just asking themselves that reason, like purpose, is because they do not know the Lord. When you know the Lord, that sense of wanting to know your purpose just immediately disappears. So a lot of times when people is like, what is my purpose? Your purpose is not to become a singer. Your purpose is not to unleash your power. Your purpose is to know God. That is like your life's purpose. If you don't have that purpose, you will never feel peace. You will never be happy. You will never ever know peace. You will never be happy. Okay, so I feel like one of the things that people also misunderstand is that they tend to misunderstand that they tend to not understand that assignment is a part of purpose. Okay, it's a part of purpose, and people often think that they cannot do without. You can do without your assignment, but you cannot do without your purpose. And one thing that I also want to talk about is how, okay, this is another video. Okay, but the issue there is that people so many times think that assignment is purpose, and that's why a lot of believers often ask themselves like, what is my purpose? Your purpose is not your assignment. If you know the Lord, you already know what your purpose is. But stop mistaking your purpose for your assignment. Without your purpose, without you knowing your purpose, which I already said like in the beginning of the video, you cannot abide. You cannot have a peaceful life. I feel like many people are not gonna walk in their assignments, and many people, everybody will have a purpose. I feel like, okay, what am I saying? I feel like many people will not be working, doing their assignments, the assignment that God has for them, but some will. Some my goodness, guys, assignment and purpose are not the same thing, and I implore you to do your research. I feel like when I once read the book of Job, I really understood that not everybody has an assignment, but everybody has to have a purpose. And I just realized how much Job had a purpose, but he didn't have an assignment, and still was comfortable. And one of the questions that I found the Holy Spirit asking me this year, lately, is, would you be able to survive without an assignment when you have your purpose? That is like, okay, I'm not doing anything for the Lord, I'm just existing. But here's a cliche: when you finally get to experience the Lord, there is no freaking way that you don't want to share it with people. So I believe that sharing the Lord, His grace, His wonders is a part of our purpose. But yeah, I'm here to tell people that purpose is not assignment. Not everybody has an assignment. But without a purpose, people cannot survive. Without a purpose, people don't have a cause and meaning to life. Am I making sense? Goodbye, guys. I love you. are more than your assignments. I don't know who needs to hear this. You are more than your assignments. God didn't bring you into the world just so you can be king or just so you can lead 330 people. God did not create Moses so that he can just lead the Israelites out of Egypt. God made Moses because he loved him and he wanted Moses to be a part of his life. Okay? God did not create King David so that he can just be King David. God created King David because God loved King David and God wanted King David to be a part of his life. So we are more than our assignments. We often like to think that God created us just for assignments. It's a lie. God created us for more than our assignments. And I feel like the lifelong journey of just walking with God is just realizing that assignments is a part of that journey, but it's not the pivotal, okay? You need to come into the understanding that you are a son, you are a daughter, and that is your purpose. And in it comes the assignment that God might want you to do. So God could want you to go to Morocco for just 2 days. That is an assignment, but it's not a purpose.